Technology and transformation is about the enablement of specialist travel consultants, not to replace those humans with computers. My job is to make the difficult simple so our people can focus on the customers. When I joined Hotelplan, they were a very analogue business. So one of our brands didn't even have Wi-Fi in its office. We mapped the customer journey out in a room, and that customer journey was 7 metres long on a piece of paper.
Wow.
That's too complex. It's 42 steps when we get a booking in from a customer.
When you talk about 42 steps, you completely reimagined that process into a much shorter time.
Yes, because what you don't want to do is automate a poor process, because you end up with poor automation. We take all the noise away from the customer so our team can deal with it, to really talk to our customers about the trip.
This has helped two aspects, right? One is your employee experience.
They're getting real-time feedback on what they're doing on the calls. They're not afraid, no, and they've really adopted it well now, because they can immediately see, oh, I could have done that better, I can do that better. I think that's the key to it, is brilliant basics. If you handle your customer well at the beginning, and we give ourselves the right technology, you're onto a winner. We're just doing the right thing at the right time for the right people.
Welcome to the CIO Diary, where we uncover the human stories behind digital transformation. I'm your host, KK, and today we are joined by Craig Randell, Group IT Director at Hotelplan UK, an award-winning leader named one of the UK's top 100 CIOs. Craig has driven change at TUI, Wagamama, and now at Hotelplan's adventure travel brands. Welcome to the pod. What are you going to share with our listeners today that's very valuable for them?
Well, thanks, KK, for inviting me. It's great to be here. I'm excited to share some real stories today about how I've driven technology during my career, bold tech moves that I've made during that time, flops that have happened during that time, and how to get board approval of the big projects that people need and getting that investment. And hopefully these lessons will help our listeners with their own careers and to move forward in themselves.
What does digital transformation actually means for you?
Digital transformation is very interested in travel, because travel is a very customer-focused business, and people are very important. People want to talk to specialists, and they want that experience for going on a holiday. So you can't create that with a computer. So technology for me and transformation is about the enablement of specialist travel consultants to really drive that experience for the customer. So my job is to make their life simple. So I take the complexity out of their roles, and I make the difficult simple for them. I give them the information they need, the data they need, so that they can serve those customers in the best possible way. And that can either be on the ground when they're at the airport, it can be whilst they're on trip, and it can be pre-booking or post-booking. So we have to make their job as easy as possible and not replace those humans with computers, but enhance their capability to deliver to the customers.
Fantastic. On that note, particularly your current role at Hotelplan is not one brand. It has so many brands. How do you deal with those challenges connected to it?
One solution doesn't fit all, because they're all unique. They've got a unique customer, they've got a unique genre, and they have their unique cultures. And, you're going from a skiing trip to visiting Santa to a guided tour with Explore and an unguided walk with InTravel. So for me, it's what I have to do is how can I help them from a central services perspective? They all need security. They all need infrastructure. That's the sort of thing you can do from a central position. They can all have the same. When it comes down to delivery of their customer-facing solutions, that's when you need to just dive into the culture of the brand and understand the brand and really get into my customer as the business. I need to understand what they're trying to achieve with their customers and then deliver that from a technology perspective. We deliver, I think, 8 different websites just for those 4 brands, depending on what we're delivering. They're all unique, but they all run on the same back-end infrastructure. So what the customer sees is the uniqueness. What we deliver from an infrastructure perspective is exactly the same. So we've just got to find that balance between the two of delivering what the customer wants to see that's unique to the brand and the cost effectiveness and economies of scale of delivering the same solution to everybody.
So in travel particularly, personalization becomes the key.
Absolutely.
And without personalization, you don't feel like it's your travel. When I wanted to travel, I want to make sure that my itinerary is exactly the way I wanted, and so on. So it's incredible. What's one tech decision you made at Hotelplan that transformed travel for millions?
For Hotelplan, when I arrived there, they'd had little investment over the last 10 years. They'd just come out of COVID, which obviously absolutely devastated the travel industry for a short period of time.
Of course.
And they were a very analogue business. So my first job was to digitalise that business as quickly as possible. Even from the perspective of one of our brands didn't even have Wi-Fi in its office, and was running on a satellite connectivity. So it's when you talk about digitalisation, how you really transform it, sometimes the basics is as transformational as putting in AI. Because you can't put AI in if people can't walk around the office with their laptop. So we did a lot of basic foundation. But I think the biggest job we've done so far is building a whole new booking solution for the business that allows them to gives them more automation, which I'll talk about later, and it gives them more capability to spend more time with the customer, serving the customer. So what we focused on is how do we save our colleagues time so that they can focus on the customer, so the mundane tasks are all automated. So the key task for us is talking to that customer.
And you mentioned already about saving time for your colleagues and improving experience for your users. I've read something which you have proudly quoted about. There are 42 steps to be done while you are planning your itinerary. That could be automated, which could be automated. And all the 42 steps you have automated, thereby reducing the overall time, planning time for your end consumers or business users. Can you talk through us?
Yeah, so that was one of the key identifications that we did when I first arrived in. I sat down with one of the MDs of the brand, and we looked at the customer journey. We mapped the customer journey out in a room, and that customer journey was 7 meters long on a piece of paper.
Wow.
So
7 meters.
7 meters, yeah. We went to put it up on the wall.
Okay.
We mapped it all out, printed it all out, went to put it up on the wall and decided we didn't have enough blue tack. So all that technology in the world, we didn't have enough.
Did you
blue
have
tack.
a 7 meters long room?
Just about. We had to go around the corner, yeah. So that we looked at that and went, that's too complex. It's too long. And there's loads of opportunity in there. There was opportunity there with manual process. There was opportunity in there with tech. So that was what I loved about that role, is that opportunity to actually change not only our customers but our colleagues' lives.
One of the points mostly people do is, how do I automate what is being manually done? But the real value comes when you reimagine that entirely digital. So when you talk about 42 steps, you completely reimagined that 7 meter long process into a much shorter. Correct. And also digitized that.
Yes, because what you don't want to do is automate a poor process, because you end up with poor automation. Yes?
True.
So what you need to look at is, well, what process do we actually need here? Then how much of that can we automate? Yeah, and that's the process we went through, and we looked at several suppliers to come in and help us. We chose a consultancy house out of Croatia called Limax. They supply our booking solution. They came in and they worked with us as a consultancy to look at how much we could automate. So we would manually send emails out to hoteliers to get availability in the hotels, and then we'd wait for that email to come back, and we'd send another one, and you end up in a long supply chain of emails going backwards and forwards. So as an example of one of those 42 steps, when we get a booking in from a customer, that now automatically sends an email to the hotelier with a link on, where they just click, yes, we've got availability, no, we don't have availability. That email comes back in, it's processed into the booking solution, nobody touches it.
what's your one go-to AI tool, or probably not just for yourself but for the organization, that saves probably thousands of hours?
I think at the moment, because of where we are as a business, I don't have a one go-to. Yeah, and I think the way you look at AI these days is there's 10 new go-to apps arriving every week.
Every week, true.
It's going really fast. And what I'm really careful about as a CIO and looking after the architecture, what I don't want is a bolt-on architecture, where we bolt on a new tool every week, and we need to look at it. So we're very much working with Microsoft with Copilot to help our colleagues with general day-to-day tasks. But we're also working with AWS in terms of Q Business and Q Developer, of how we bring that into our organisation. One, so we can deliver faster, and then secondly, how can we help our business with AI as well? So we're very much at the beginning, because technology's not changed in the 30 years that I've been in it. If you still put poor data in, you'll still get poor data out. It doesn't matter. I've seen the
garbage
internet,
in, garbage out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've seen that over 30 years. It's not changed, and the same as with AI. You've got to get your data sorted first.
No, true.
Yeah,
100%.
Otherwise you'll get the wrong answers. And we're very much in the process of sorting our data before we really push AI out there.
Is there any other AI initiatives that you have started, and how is it performing?
Yeah, so we've got we put a new contact center solution in for our sales teams. We put that across all three brands. We saw that the same solution would fit all three brands. It was one of the areas we could really make economies of scale. And we use AI across all our conversations that we have with our customers. So
fantastic.
Immediately that finishes, that we get a brief of what that call was, any actions that came out of it, where it needs to be filed, who needs to do what. That's immediately available. Those conversations are also available for training as well, so people can go back through them. Recommendations of how the call could have been handled differently. Was anything missed during the call? So AI is working really well, not only in helping us deal with the customer, but helping us train our own people as well. So
fantastic. And then this is leveraging the Copilot, or it is a contact center solution?
It's a contact center solution we're using called TalkDesk.
Sorry, what is that?
TalkDesk.
TalkDesk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've got an AI solution actually built into their product, and they're enhancing that regularly. So we're using that, and that's really helping the sales teams, because they're getting loads of rich information straight away from voice recording calls.
Fantastic.
Brilliant Basics is the core to a lot of what we do. Yeah, and if you handle your customer well at the beginning, and you give our sales team the right technology, you're onto a winner. We're not doing anything magical. Yeah, we're just doing the right thing at the right time for the right people.
How has it helped your end customer experience, CX?
Yep.
The EX and CX.
So we're seeing a big uplift in EX, because they're getting real-time feedback on what they're doing on the calls.
They're not afraid of it?
They're not afraid. No, they were to start with, I think. It was like, oh, what is this? Yeah, it's telling me how to do my job. Is it going to do my job for me soon? No, absolutely not. But it can help them, and they've really adopted it well now, because they can immediately see, I could have done that better, I can do that better. Therefore, that helps our CX. Yeah.
No, absolutely. CX.
So, the CX really comes through in terms of we can manage customers through quicker. We can give them the key details that they want a lot faster, because we understand from the previous calls. We can also see what their previous call was about. So if they're phoning back, if you start the conversation, I phoned 3 days ago, that agent can immediately bring that call up and bring that transcript up. So that's available. And so they can quickly scan that whilst the customer's talking. They can be scanning the previous call to go, I exactly know what you called about. I can deal with that, no problem at all. Let me see where we are on that process. So you've immediately got engagement with the customer straight away.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what this does, it allows our customer sales team to really talk to our customers about the trip. yeah, and about that magical experience that we want to create for them, because that's what holidays are. It should be a magical experience, and especially specialist holidays. So that's really key for us, is we take all the noise away from the customer so our team can deal with it, and we deal with it as efficiently as possible, so that when you ring up and you want to go to the Galapagos Islands, you want to understand exactly what that trip's like, and you want to talk to somebody who's been, and our sales team will have been, and we can focus on the detail of that call and the detail of that experience and not worry about the tech. And
how did you convince the Hotelplan's board in making this investment on AI?
I've become quite good at storytelling over the years. Yeah, having worked in numerous boards and reporting to numerous boards, I think what you need to talk about a CIO's role now is not about KPIs and SLAs. Yeah, it's about revenue generation. It's about customer experience improvement. You need to understand the business that you're working in and how you can enhance that business. So, when we went to the board with a new contact center solution, we went with how will it enhance the customer experience, how will it enhance our employee experience, not it will cost this much and these are the SLAs it'll improve. Didn't discuss that. Yeah, we talked about the value it'll put on the bottom line of the business, but not only the money element, it also looked at the profitability of the business, which is obviously the money, the personality of the business, how it will help our culture, how it will help our customer experience, and then the sustainability element. So at Hotelplan we work on three P's, we call it, people, planet and profit.
Fantastic. People, planet and profit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you need all three to have a successful business. You can't just run on profit because it's not sustainable. We want to look after the planet because the planet is what gives us our industry. Without the planet we don't have travel, and people want to explore this great planet of ours. So we need to look after all three, and obviously our people are absolutely as important. So those three elements is how I put across to the board.
On that note, sustainability, at least in UK, Europe, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So how is your IT plan using technology to improve sustainability?
So when I joined, I think we had just over 200 servers in-house. We now have about 20. So we've reduced our power consumption massively by going to the cloud. It means we've been able to use new technology, which is less intensive. Yeah? So in terms of our, carbon impact on the planet, we've reduced that. But it's also about giving data to our business about how much of our trips are costing us. How are we using paper plates? Are we using recyclable materials
Absolutely.
in our hotels? Yeah?
Absolutely.
So there's a huge audit that takes place every year across all our hotels, all our business, about how are we impacting the planet.
And it is not just about your company uses, but also look at from the end consumer or a user perspective, how many prints they will end up taking.
That's right, yeah. So, and, we run, a very sustainable business at the end of the day. What in travel is based on walking holidays, so it's good for the planet. We've tried to take as much flight out as we can and suggest rail where we can. We've got, you can take the ski train now from the UK to down into France and down to the south of France and across to other ski areas. So we try and encourage rail a lot more, and we've built the systems that allow us to book rail a lot easier than it used to be. The rail network is still a bit of a nightmare when you should get UK into Europe, and obviously we're limited because we only have one tunnel out of the UK into Europe. But once you're into Europe, then it opens up a lot more. So we're trying to use as much sustainable travel as we can and building systems that allow us to do that.
Fantastic. What is one moment in your career where you took a big bet on technology that has helped transform the company significantly?
Whilst I was at TUI, I was responsible for one of the key partners in putting AWS into TUI. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When we did it, we said, let's not start small. Let's take our customer-facing website and let's put it into AWS, because travel's quite a volatile industry, it goes up and down very quickly depending on world events. Yeah. So one of the things we saw was we had a load of servers that were running at 100% capacity because they were all in-house, but only being used for 10% of the time. Yeah. So we could reduce our costs quite dramatically, but also scale up pretty quick when we needed to at peak season or when we saw demand coming in from customers. So not many people would back a bit of a maverick like myself when I said, well, let's not do a small project. Let's put a £6 billion turnover website into AWS as our first AWS project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now,
6 billion.
So luckily,
and all of that is an online transaction?
Yeah.
Wow.
So luckily I had a very either very mad board or a board who were very good at backing me, and they did back that decision. We spent a lot of time doing it, but we pulled that off in about 8 months. Yeah.
Wow.
And we put it into it. We had a lot of support from AWS, and you'll see TUI and AWS very good partners today. Still used a lot. It was a massive risk. Even more so the fact that I presented it to the board a day before we were due to go live and went, I think it'll be tight, but I think we'll be okay. And I went down, and I'll never get this. I sat in the big meeting room into his head office with all my trusted team around me. And I went round the table and I said, are we good to go? And they went, no, we've got this problem, we've got that problem, that doesn't work, this doesn't work. I went, okay, so we've got about 15, 16 P1s then, yeah. So
16 P1s.
Yeah, so you'd look at that and any other project today, I would also, look at that and go, you won't go live.
No.
Yeah. But the problem with travel is you have seasonality. So if you don't hit your dates, you just don't get to have another go for 6 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Or 3 months. Yeah. So we had to do it. And I went, we can fix all these overnight or day one. Yeah. The website works, it sort of trades. Yeah. So we went for it. And I could see the faces, that's a trusted team that I'd built. And they were all going, oh no, he's mad. He's mad. And we put it in and we fixed it. We got it up and running. It was a little bit bumpy for 2 or 3 days. I have to give credit to our e-commerce director at the time, Neil Swanson, who was very pragmatic, very supportive, and is now the managing director of TUI UK. But a brilliant colleague to work with and give me enough rope to nearly hang myself with.
Wow.
So we went with that. And we were bumpy at the beginning. 4 months later, unfortunately, Thomas Cook went into administration. Yeah. We were the only travel agency to keep our website up because the demand coming in from Thomas Cook customers to rebook their holidays was huge.
Wow.
Because we were in AWS, we were able to deal with that demand.
Elasticity,
we
scale.
were just, we had that elasticity. We were able to just ramp up servers literally by the hour. And it got to the point in the evening we were putting a server up a minute to deal with the demand coming in. And we were able to do that. Now, if we hadn't made that brave move to AWS, we wouldn't have been able to do that. We would have, how long does it take you to go and procure a server, plug it in, build it? It's days, it's not minutes. And we were literally throwing servers up in minutes. And we were sat in a war room, just go, yeah, I'll have another one. Demand's coming in, I'll have another one. I think we did like a month's trade in 2 days.
Wow. Wow,
that
is
huge.
Classic.
We broke every daily record that day. Now, it was an unfortunate occurrence because obviously we don't want to see any of our colleagues, go into administration. But we were able to deal with the demand because we'd made a brave move. So sometimes those brave moves pay off. Yeah.
At the right time. So that is a fantastic success story.
Yeah.
We all have our own war wounds, don't we? So what is one tech move that you made was a big flop?
I'm lucky enough that I've not had many big flops. I've had some minors. I mean, one, I'll talk about one, I'll talk about another one. One is slightly humorous, and it's the lesson is plan for the unexpected. So I was managing a move from a Swindon data centre to a managed service in Manchester. And it was back in, late 90s. where we still had a lot of infrastructure. We didn't have the cloud
colos.
and that. Yeah. So we needed to literally unplug everything, lift everything up, and push it through, and ship it via lorry to Manchester. So we went, well, we need to plan that if a lorry gets stuck, we've got enough kit on the other lorry so that when we build it, we can run it. Yeah. So we worked all this out, and we had 2 lorries that either lorry could run our business. Yeah. If one lorry didn't make it, the other lorry could run our business. So when we rebuilt it, hopefully they both arrived at the same time and we rebuilt our system. 3:00 on Friday afternoon, we went into the board and went, we're good to go. Everything's a go. Everything's packed up. All good. As I said those words, there was this huge bang in the car park outside.
Oh my God.
Lorry 1 had reversed into lorry 2.
Oh.
So all the planning in the world, I had not planned for one lorry to back itself into the other lorry. Yeah. So it was one of those things of, okay, we didn't plan for that, but okay. So I actually ended up with not just 2 lorries, but a lorry's built up of the back and the front. So I had a broken front of one lorry and a broken back of the other lorry. So I still had one working lorry if you swapped them over. So we had to swap the trailer from one to the front of the other one and sent that lorry.
Wow.
So we turned it around and we got everything fixed, and we got everything up to Manchester enough to run the business for the Monday morning. But I think that is I didn't plan for it. I didn't plan for the unexpected. Yeah. So that was one flop. The second one was probably my biggest flop was when we put a contact centre solution into one of the businesses I worked at, and we thought we planned it. We hadn't worked close enough with the business to understand all the routing. I think one of the things you get from a contact centre, for those who've worked in it, is when you press 1 to go here, press 2 to go here, 3 to, all those routings. We had a lot of them, so we were a large business, and we just totally messed it up. And we took the contact centre down for 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a total and utter disaster. We had a war room set up, and we just couldn't get all this routing to work. We had customers going all over the place. That was something I still have the scars for today. And when I did the contact centre solution at Hotelplan, I had a team working on the IVRs and the routing, and I said, I want to walk through that. I want you to walk me through how it's going to work. But that's because you take those war wounds from your previous failures, and they're far more valuable than any of my successes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of my, mentors tell me this: either you earn or you learn. If it is successful, you earn. Yeah. If it is failure, you learn. Yeah. So those learnings have helped you a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you've got to be brave. You've got to go for these things, because if you played safe all the time, you'd never achieve anything.
And what is your framework when you wanted to? Because innovation doesn't come free and not cheap, right? It requires a lot of investment. It requires effort, energy put in by everyone. What is your framework to adopting an innovation initiative? Do you follow any particular framework, or do you have your own?
Not really. I think I have my own. I'm very much about, we try it quickly, we get to results quickly. Pilots should be 2 weeks, not 2 months. Yeah.
Try fast, fail fast.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe you fail fast, but you learn faster. Yeah.
True.
I try and use 10% of my capital investment that I'm giving at the start of the year for innovation. Yeah.
10% is decent. Yeah. Keeping up with that pace is super critical. And that's why I call it as, everyone, to be successful in this, we got to be an hyper learner. Yeah. What is your mantra to keep yourself always up to date on technology?
So I try and use the time when I'm not in the office. So, I have an hour and a half commute when I go down to the office. So that's normally about 2 podcasts. Yeah.
Fantastic.
On current tech. I caught the train here this morning. That was a podcast. Earphones in, podcast on. But there's still some great books out there that I'll get.
Are
through.
you also a hands-on person when it comes to technology?
So as a CIO, I'd like to say no, not really. If you were to ask the rest of my board colleagues and some of my team, they'd say yeah, absolutely, and he's a real pain because he just won't let go. So I still do keep my fingers dirty when if there's a bit of code that needs looking at, or if we've been looking at a problem for too long, I'll delve in.
What is the latest technology you got your hands on recently?
It wasn't actually new technology. It was the new booking
Not
solution.
Not necessarily new any technology.
Yeah.
That is.
So I was looking at our booking solution, and we were struggling to get data across to it. And we're trying to map old unstructured data to a new structured world. So and I had two spreadsheets, and I was playing with Python to try and match these two spreadsheets up to try and get it to work.
So did you use JSON or something?
Yeah, I used JSON and Python, and we were trying to get that to run through. And it's funny because you start that at like 6 in the evening, and then your wife gives you a shout at 2 in the morning to go, are you actually coming to bed tonight? I was like, oh dear, yes, I am. I didn't realise that was the time was. I think the techie in me is still techie. Yeah,
it's still alive and kicking.
Still alive and kicking, and you can lose hours with a technical problem, and I will sit there, with some AI stuff, and I'll play with it, and see if I can get it to work. I love building little chatbots and little agents within Copilot and that to do different things.
Very nice.
Sort of thing. So I still try and keep my hand in. You have to know, as you said, technology is changing really fast, and you've got to keep up with it. And the best way to keep up with it is play with it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely. If there is no budget constraints and no resource constraints, and if there is one project that you wanted to build and drive that will change the travel industry if it goes well, what is your vision? What would be that one dream project for you?
My dream project is something I've talked about it before on another podcast. Is I want to bring travel to a more inclusive community. So travel is a luxury, for many people, and not everybody can travel. People have disabilities. People have disabilities that you can't see, where they can't even leave their front door, or they're scared of flying. So how do you bring travel to that? So for me, I'm really about that inclusivity, about bringing travel to the masses. So if you had no cost implications, I'd love to use VR and AR to bring that travel experience, because travel is a magical experience that you immerse yourself in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why you go abroad. We've nearly got the technology these days, whilst very expensive, to bring that immersive element into somebody's home or into a specific building. Yeah. So if I could send you on safari without you leaving your seat, and a totally immersive experience with a headset on that you can look left and right, and you can, see the elephants and the giraffes and that, and be totally immersed in that for 30 minutes rather than getting on a plane for 7 hours. Now, that brings in more people. Yeah, and people say, well, how's that going to make travel money? Well, put the money to one side for a minute, because I don't want to do it for the money, but it does work for the money. But I want to get people deserve to see this great planet that we live on, and I want to use technology to deliver that. And I'd really love, we have all these VR 360 arcades all around the country, where you can, jump in a jeep, jump in a helicopter, and go and shoot aliens and that. Turn that around, and make it something that really brings people, that really gives them something that they can experience and remember for the rest of their lives. Stop shooting things and start viewing things and experiencing things. And I think you can monetize it, because it can be a pre-booking tool as well.
No, I think it is incredible. One is pre-booking tool. Great, but you're talking about a whole new industry, virtual tourism.
Yeah, absolutely.
And virtual tourism is not equal to watching an HD video on a big screen. Virtual tourism could be, so I recently came across a YouTuber who just does live broadcasting of where he is going, what he is doing.
Yep, I know,
And
yeah.
people, there are millions
Correct,
along with
yeah,
him.
yeah,
He goes to the Stratford Stadium watching a football match,
Yeah.
and then with this, and then he's interacting with some of his audience.
Yep.
Nothing. He just does that. So I'm very excited to hear that dream project, and you can have people travel with interesting cameras and
Yeah,
tech gadgets,
yeah.
and then it is a set timing. People who have these challenges can join them in the
Correct,
journey,
yeah.
which happens in live.
Absolutely.
It could
yeah.
be great.
Yeah, I think there's loads of opportunities there to do
It's
it.
not
and
just industry. You have a nice business idea too, I think.
I think it could be. Just
Some excellent, good stuff. And if an industry, you also worked on the not just in the tourism, but also worked in retail, hospitality,
Yep.
in like Wakamama and so
Yep.
on. What is major difference you saw?
So I think you've always got that customer service element. The difference is how you deliver that. Wagamama's is through a real time restaurant. People walking in, day in, day out, and being able to deliver that experience as easily as possible, and making the waiters and the waitresses, making their job as simple as possible. When they take the order, when they put the order in, how does the order get to the kitchen? How does the supply chain work to make sure the product is available for the chef to cook at the right time and it arrives so it's fresh. So there's those different supply chains, but it's still a supply chain.
True.
Yeah.
No. True. In a way, it is true.
Yeah.
That way.
So for me, it's I've always enjoyed the businesses I've worked in the most is where there's a customer interaction element. Most of my time is either retail, hospitality, or travel.
In both the industries, the commonality is it's all about the experience.
Yep.
How do we make it less friction, right? How do we make it smooth as possible for them to engage?
Absolutely. Simple. How do you keep it simple?
Absolutely. So in our podcast, we have a interesting way of linking our guests with the previous guests. So our previous guest was Jason Richardson. I want to show one of his secrets of success that he mentioned in the pod. I want to see your reaction to that, and also what is one such secret that you may have to share with the audience. I'm going to play that in a moment. I have kept it handy.
You do spin up a cross-functional, cross-divisional project, you've already got some of those relationships. And we have this silly rule around 3 phone calls.
Oh, okay.
What do you think that means?
3 phone calls. So I know 3 coffees before you start really getting to discuss business meaningfully.
Yeah.
So what are the 3 phone calls? Keen to listen.
Within any three phone calls, I can get you any information you need about our business, and I'll put you in touch with anyone you need to know.
Oh, okay.
So the only way you can do that is to have the relationships in the business.
So he talks about these 3 phone calls. Do you have such secrets for your success?
One of the things I do, and one of the things if you were to talk to my team and anybody who works closely with me, is I always talk about keep it simple. Yeah, explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. Yeah, because then I'll understand it. Yeah, and if you can't explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old, you don't understand it enough to get me to buy into it. Yeah, so I think for me it's that simplicity and listening to people. Yeah, because if somebody's talking, you should be listening, and if they're keeping it simple, you'll be absorbing it, and you'll be ready to respond in the right way once they've finished. So, for my secret is keep it simple, listen strongly.
You have been absolutely an amazing guest, and enjoyed our conversation thoroughly.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for the time. I hope everybody enjoys listening to our conversation.
Hello listeners. If you loved this episode of the CIO Diary, like, comment and subscribe, and share it with a fellow IT leader who would find Craig's story inspiring. And join us next time for more human stories behind digital transformation. See you soon. Bye-bye.